Okay, so George asked me to start the meeting today with a little bit of background on iOS 12, and I have to admit I have not done anything on iOS 12, so I know nothing about it except what I've read or heard. So my thought was I would just play the intro keynote from the website, and I'll just play the front part of this so that you all can get a flavor. iOS has been talked about as a minor update, sort of like 11 was, just add a bunch of small things, and it turns out it's going to be pretty major. They're going to change file structure and give us more monitoring tools because we're spending too much time on our devices, and they're putting those kinds of things in. So I just play the first few minutes of this. It's only a few minutes long.
WWDC 2018 has officially kicked off with Tim Cook and company taking the stage today at Apple's annual keynote, where new versions of iOS, macOS, tvOS, and watchOS were announced. In this video, we're going to go over everything that Apple introduced at WWDC 2018. Starting off with iOS 12, Apple announced ARKit 2, which focuses on persistence and shared experiences, giving users the ability to save their AR experiences and pick up where they left off, or share them with friends for multiplayer adventures. Apple also introduced a new Measure app that lets you use augmented reality to measure real-world objects. Siri received some useful features with a new Shortcuts app, which lets users create shortcuts from any app that can help with various tasks throughout your day. As an example, if you're going on a trip and using Kayak to plan the trip, you can create a Kayak shortcut with a Siri keyword like travel plans. Then, when you ask Siri to tell you about your travel plans, Siri will give you the Kayak info. You can also use shortcuts like these in tons of third-party applications, and for a wide range of tasks, with Apple providing a whole ton of pre-made shortcut options. Siri will use shortcuts to make more intelligent suggestions depending on the time of day and your usage habits. There's also a redesigned Stocks app that includes built-in Apple News info, and Stocks is also coming to the iPad. iBooks has been renamed to Apple Books, and the store has been given an overhaul. Photos has a new For You tab with a more robust search functionality, and for CarPlay users, you'll now be able to use third-party mapping apps like Google Maps or Waze. Digital health plays a major role in iOS 12 with the new Do Not Disturb features that can limit what users see during bedtime, and screen time monitoring to help users understand and manage the amount of time they're spending on their iOS devices. Parents can also set limits on the amount of time kids can use a particular app, and limit app usage to those that are educational or crucial, like the phone. Longtime iOS users will be happy to hear that iOS 12 brings group notifications, which is one way Apple is helping users better manage incoming data. Multiple new features are coming to Messages and FaceTime, with Apple introducing new Animojis, along with a new Memoji feature that lets you create an Animoji that looks just like you. Memoji can be used in Messages and in FaceTime, as can Animoji. Speaking of FaceTime, Apple is introducing group FaceTime for iOS and macOS, with up to 32 people being able to participate in a single FaceTime call, and can come and go at will. For Macs, Apple introduced macOS Mojave with a slew of new features, starting with my personal favorite, Dark Mode. The new optional Dark Mode lets users shift their desktop to a darkened color scheme that touches almost every part of the OS, including system preferences, messages, mail, maps, photos, calendar, and more. Developers will be happy to learn that the newest version of Xcode coming in Mojave also supports the new Dark Mode, and Apple is making an API available so developers can implement Dark Mode in their own apps. The new Desktop Stacks feature is designed to keep your desktop more organized. Stacks organizes messy desktops by automatically stacking files into neat groups based on file type. Users can also customize their stacks to sort based on other file attributes like date and tags. In addition, a new gallery view for Finder makes it easier to preview files visually, including images, video, presentations, spreadsheets, PDFs, and more. It also comes with a new Finder sidebar that offers media metadata and quick actions, which allows users to do things like create and password protect PDFs and run custom automator actions on files. Finder's Quick View has also been updated with new markup tools and will allow users to rotate and crop images, mark up PDFs, and trim video and audio clips without ever opening an app. A new redesigned Mac App Store will also make its way to Mojave with a new look and rich editorial content to help discovery. The new design also highlights new and updated applications in a Discover tab, while tabs for Create, Work, Play, and Develop aim to help users find apps for a specific project or purpose. macOS Mojave also introduces desktop versions of a number of iOS applications, including News, Stocks, Voice Memos, and Home. The apps were brought to macOS using iOS frameworks that have been adapted to macOS. Apple says that starting in late 2019, these additional frameworks will be available for developers to bring their own iOS apps to macOS. watchOS and tvOS are typically smaller updates, and this WWDC was no different. For watchOS, the major new feature, Walkie Talkie, lets users send push-to-talk messages, like an old-school Nextel phone, to each other from watch to watch. A new podcast app has also been added, and auto workout detection, another new feature, is a major quality of life improvement for those users who use their Apple Watch devices for fitness, because it'll auto start and stop workouts based on heart rate and other metrics. New interactive notifications and Siri suggestions in watchOS 5 allows users to perform specific actions from a notification without having to enter the app and Siri shortcuts. And suggestions for the Siri watch face have been optimized for third-party applications and can offer sports scores or commute time ahead of your drive home. Finally, in honor of Pride Month, a rainbow-colored watch band and watch face are now available for users starting today. tvOS 12 was a minor update focusing on Dolby Atmos support for Apple TV 4K owners. Apple has also improved single sign-on with zero sign-on, a new feature that will automatically sign into apps if you're connected to the internet provider who you use for cable. This is limited to Charter Spectrum in the US, but will expand eventually. Charter Spectrum users are also soon going to be able to replace their existing cable boxes with the Apple TV. For you screensaver fans, there are new aerial screensavers for the International Space Station, and there's a new option to see where an aerial screensaver was captured. What do you think of Apple's keynote and all the new features that were announced today? Let us know in the comment section
So
down
is that
below.
enough for you?
Also,
Now you can ask
make
me
sure to stay
questions
tuned
about
to
that, but I don't
Mac
know.
because we're going to have additional.
Because we're still doing beta testing on 11. They just sent me a beta test, 11.5 something. So how do we get out of this here?
Why was there so much blinking?
I think it was just the cable here, because when I held it, it stopped blinking. All right, when I post this, I'll post the link if anybody wants to go back and listen to it again or whatever. Any questions this morning before I go further? No questions? You had one, Tom.
Yeah, how do you look at a picture, and this is in photos now. So you've got the photos, main photos folder, and then you have an album folder. So how do you look at pictures in the album at the same time you're looking at pictures in the main photo folder?
Okay. Other questions?
Yeah, it was advertised that the new stuff coming syncs your messages to the cloud, but I mean, I get messages now on more than one device. What is the improvement over what we have now?
Okay. You had an Apple Wallet one, right?
Right.
A question? Go ahead.
That's how to block and eliminate birth date notifications. Probably from Facebook.
You know, I ought to use that little device where when you type something, it'll fix it for you. Because I always type form instead of from. Done.
And reminders, is there any way to edit a reminder, or do you have to do, I wanted to change the time on a daily reminder, and all I could see that I could delete it or move it up or down the list.
I'm not sure I know what that is. Another question, somebody? George?
Another great thing that I heard in iOS 12 is on your CarPlay, you're going to be able to use third-party maps like Google,
Right.
which is a major thing.
Yeah, they said that in the video, so I think that's coming. They have to, because their mapping is so bad. They have to allow us to use others.
use, one of the things, no, it's not, reminders, it's lists, and like what, I use it for my grocery list, and when I want to change the position of that to the top so I don't forget it, it just keeps going on top of someone. So then I can't even edit it to delete that when it has one, like say garlic on top of onions or something. It just is one mess and I can't get rid of that.
Okay.
Well, it's still got the,
I'm not sure about all this reminder stuff, but we'll look at it. Let's go look at it.
it's on a list one.
It's on what, sorry?
I use the list feature, not the
Oh, on
reminder.
list.
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 On that recording, when they talked about group chat on the iOS 12, is that available on Apple TV? I mean, would you be able to get group chat for group
Yeah, for
presentation?
FaceTime, for FaceTime. I don't know that, because they, you know, it's just being introduced, so. I think it'll be, this whole thing will be out by September. There are, I made a note up here, just for those of you who are adventurous. You can sign up for your own beta test of those different apps. But my caution is, if you do it, don't do it on a device that's your regular device. You know, so if you sign up for your iPad and you want to test iOS 12, you can go get the beta test and do it. But the risk is that you will then screw up something, because it's a beta test for a reason. Beta test means it's buggy and it hasn't been fully checked out and whatever. So don't do it on a device. You know, I wouldn't use your iPhone 10 for your beta test, because it could screw it up. You know, make sure you have a backup and make sure you're not using your primary device. I use my iPad for my beta test, but I don't use my phone when I'm doing iOS 11. Jim?
I don't think there's a FaceTime on the Apple TV. There's no camera.
Yeah, that's true. So I think he's right.
You can't.
Can you
Oh,
mirror
there's no
it?
camera on
Is
this.
it possible to mirror it onto?
Oh, but that's different. You're using your FaceTime on your phone or your iPad there. You're not really using, there is no FaceTime app for the Apple TV.
Yeah.
You can mirror, yes.
Jerry?
I think it's worth mentioning that not all of your Macs will be able to run the new operating system.
That's right.
So if you're running High Sierra, you may not be able to run Holly.
Right, because you always have that criteria, how much capability the device has to run the new one.
My Mac, my iPad, and my phone sync together, you know, on my home network. But if I'm going into messages or email on one of the devices and say I delete an email on my Mac, it doesn't carry over and get deleted from the others, or messages. And so what do I need to do so that if I delete from one device,
Okay?
I don't have to go through and delete the same thing 3 times?
Okay, let me cover a couple of these, because I know the answers. The iOS answers, I don't know the answers. So we're just going to have to wait until they get us more information or until we start testing ourselves, all right? So some of that I can't answer. How to look at photos and folders at the same time on your Mac. I know this is an iOS meeting, but it's all right. When you're in photos, or let's do it the other way. When you're in your folders and you want to look at your pictures, somewhere here I have pictures. So I have pictures here that I can look at in my Finder, right? Now my Finder, and then over here is my Photos guy. these have these little green dots, right? And the little green dot, if you put your cursor on it, can everybody see that I'm moving the cursor up to that green dot?
Mhm.
If I hold that green dot, I get this sort of blue screen on the left side there, and I get one over here on the right side. So by moving it, I can put it where I want it. So I'm moving it, and now I have the screen on the right is my photos program and my albums, right? Tom, you with me?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, now on this
What
side,
I'm getting at is that you have albums in photos.
yep,
I would like to look at an album at the same time that I look in the main photos folder. Within photos.
oh, you want to look at an album in photos?
Yeah, because I don't know which pictures I don't have in the album. I'd like to scroll through the main photos. I can't do that.
Not any way that I know. You
Okay.
can't have a program open in two places. But if you wanted to add something to an album, you don't. It never adds it twice.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Well, I didn't know
So
that.
if I'm in photos, if I'm in my collection of photos, and I pick all these guys, and I say I want to add all these to a photo, to an album,
Mhm.
it won't put them in twice.
Okay.
So you know, there's no downside to dragging them in there.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
I thought you were looking at side by side, because I keep my photos I keep the originals out of the photos program.
Mhm.
And then you run into the problem of, okay, is this guy in my photos collection, you know?
Mhm.
And you need to be able to see them side by side. So,
Where are you keeping them? Capture?
I just keep them in a
Just in a
folder,
folder?
in folders. I keep them on an external hard drive, but I just keep them in
Okay.
folders, and then drag them into photos when I want. Okay, questions about that before we move on? Okay. New stuff in messages, let me hold that one for a little bit. How to eliminate birthday notifications from Facebook. Does anybody know how you do Facebook photos or Facebook birthdays? Marilyn?
I don't know how to do that exactly because I just have a very limited Facebook, but you can go into other places in Facebook, like I had a person who I didn't want to unfriend, but I didn't want to read their messages. So my daughter went into that person's name on Facebook, and there's a list of things that you can do in there. And mine was, don't show this in my news feed. And the other thing that she did for my husband, who doesn't even read his Facebook anymore, was don't send email messages to me. So I don't know, I can't tell you exactly where it is because my daughter did it for me, but I do not get any messages in my email from Facebook. So you might look at some of the options because you can, even if you still have Facebook on your device, on your computer or your iOS, you can go into Facebook, into some of the options, and you can say, don't send me email messages. Otherwise, when somebody posts something, you get an email message, and you don't want that. At least I don't want that.
Yeah, in my case, I've turned everything off. So I don't get anything from Facebook. I have an account, but I don't use it. I don't want anybody to send me anything, so I just say, no. Apple Wallet use. I wanted to cover Apple Wallet because it's sort of a cool, thing. put my phone up here. Everybody can see the phone. Apple Wallet. How many of you use Apple Wallet? Oh, good, about half of you. The other half, it's a very nice little thing, which Apple has put in. It looks like that. It says wallet under it. So it's like a bunch of credit cards. And when you do your Apple Wallet, you can put in as many credit cards as you want. You can't put business credit cards in. And the way you put them in is you simply take a picture of it. You just lay it on the table. It says, I want to add a new one. You add a new one by adding the little plus thing up there. And then you take a picture of your credit card. And if you can't see, for example, this one, the numbers are all on the back. So it looked at it and said, I can't find it. You turn it over, and then it finds the card and makes it Citibank. And you can use it for boarding passes. That's what these things are. When you get a boarding pass and you make your boarding pass, you say add it to the wallet, and you put it in your wallet. And when you go to the airport, you just show them your phone and put the little QR code. That's a QR code, by the way. Everybody knows that. QR code. It's replacing barcodes because you can get more information on it. And then the QR code registers with the airport. And I use it for my Starbucks card and my Dunkin' Donuts card and my Walgreens card and any other, places where you go collect reward points. You can add all sorts of cards. And the way you use it, just let me finish this off. The way you use it is you pick the card that you want by tapping it. And then you'll go to where you normally would put your credit card, the little machiney thing. And on the iPhone 10, you have to be recognized. So when you get close enough, it says, show me your face. So you show it the face and you recognize it. On a 6 or earlier, you would just put your finger on the home button and authorize it. And then you put it next to the thing and the little blue lights light up and it goes bing. You can see there, Walgreens, $29.15 gets credited to your account. And they never see your credit card doing that. It's a very nice little feature.
I just don't know about on the very top it says Apple Pay.
Yeah, Apple Pay is
Pay cash, yeah.
Western Union or PayPal to send cash to somebody else.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So you would just say, use Apple Pay to send and receive money in messages. So it's basically a messaging app that says, send you $25. So everybody in the room can test that. We're going on our 50th wedding anniversary trip next week, and there's gambling. So please send me your money, and I'll gamble for you. Any amount you want. Just like a couple hundred, 500,000, whatever you want. And you're going to lose, by the way, no matter what you send me. So.
Is there a fee associated with that?
No.
No.
Does the Apple Pay require a debit card as opposed to a credit
No.
card?
No. All my cards, these three are all credit cards.
So where's the cash coming from, your bank account?
No, it's coming from that credit card. It gets charged to your credit card.
Credit card.
So if I want to use Citibank MasterCard, it goes to that account. If I want to use my Citibank Visa card, it goes to that account. But the credit card never gets registered. It's registered with Apple, but the number that the merchant sees is a different number. And they can't use it again because you're not authorizing with your face or your finger.
If you use that, this is one reason I haven't used it, is if you have to bring something back and you get a credit, how do they know what account to credit the refund to?
Because they have that number and they'll credit it.
And Apple will trace it back?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it works great. I return all sorts of stuff. There's no problem doing it. Don?
So how do you get, if you have the numbers on the back, how does that get put in? I mean, there's no.
If it doesn't recognize, if the camera doesn't recognize, if I do this and it's looking for a card, right? It says Apple cards to pay, and add cards to pay, blah, 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 and then I would say continue. Now it's going to go look for a credit card. You see the image there. You put your card under there and it would recognize it. If it doesn't recognize it, then it says, enter card details manually. Enter card details manually. So sometimes it won't pick up the expiration date or, your full name or whatever, so that then you do it manually.
But to get the picture, like yours, to get the picture of the front, then you have to enter it manually, right? You take a picture of the front and then you enter your...
No, if the number were on the back, I would turn the card over and give it, and let it find the number on the
But
back.
that's not what yours shows. It looked like it showed the front of the card.
It does.
It creates an image
Right.
representing that card, but you take the picture of the back.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But this would not be a place to, like if you lost your wallet, this would not be a place that would store all the information, phone numbers and all that. That would be, you'd have to use a separate app for that.
I don't know what you mean.
I mean,
If I lost my wallet,
1Password or something.
I don't know what that means, what your question is, sorry. If I lost,
They always say, well, I mean, how do you know somebody stole your wallet or you lost it? So now you want to call all your credit card companies.
right.
They would not be stored in this particular app.
No, I put them all in 1Password.
Okay, thanks.
All my credit cards, this is my 1Password thingy. All my credit cards are here, all my reward cards are here, my driver's licenses are here, my passports are here. I keep copies of all that, so my passport is registered here and it's got pictures. So if I ever got stolen, I would just use that to print off a copy. It's just like having they always say, make a copy of your passport and put it in your shoe and whatever, so that you always have something if somebody takes your passport. Well, I have it in 1Password, so I never worry about having a paper copy with me.
Is that a complicated password, I hope?
Is it? Of course it's complicated. It's my 1Password account. You would never guess it. This one uses my face, right?
Yeah.
So that's about as complicated as you get. Doesn't work with your face. Right? Yeah. It only works with mine. Questions about Apple Wallet? It's really cool. It's very, very nice little thing. All right. Apple Wallet use. How to edit reminders. We're talking about reminders on our phone. So we're talking about this app. Is that what we're talking about? Internet? No.
Yeah,
Don, yes?
that was my question.
Okay, so your question about this app.
I think Bernadette's question is about notes.
No, it's
No.
reminders.
Oh, it's
It's
reminders,
about this.
okay.
All right. First of all, I should explain why it's on my last page. You all know this, the little dots down at the bottom tell you how many pages you have. Anybody not know that?
Right.
Okay, now you know it.
Now I know
Right.
it, something too obvious.
So those little dots, that's on the last page. The reason they're on the last page is these apps are not supported by the new operating system. So I put them on my last page, and I don't like reminders, so I put it on my last page because I'm hoping that they get updated, but if they don't, then eventually I'll just delete them because they're there. And reminders is here because I don't use reminders anymore because I hate it. Sorry. But let's look at reminders, all right?
My idea.
So reminders has two kinds of things, right? Scheduled and reminders. And your issue about reminders is what?
I'm making grocery lists, and when I want to move an item from the bottom or the middle up to the top, when I'm moving it by holding those bars, it just seems to catch on one of the other notes that I have in there, and then when you try to delete it, you can't delete it, and you can't separate it.
So I wind up with 4 of these guys, right? And now your question is, how do I move them from one to the other?
You can do edit, and then
Edit?
it gives you the bars, and then you can move them up.
So I have edit, right? And now I have these little bars or delete,
Well, then you can actually use the bars and move it up.
and I want to put this guy up at the top.
Yep. Well, a lot of the times it would fall from shrink to onion, and then they're combined as one item, and you can separate them if you scroll down and hold it, but just to leave it without touching it. So I usually, lately I've been deleting the whole list and starting over. So
I guess I don't know why it would wind up on top of it.
I don't know either. It worked for years without a problem.
I can share a list. So you just make it a list and you give it to John, and then he,
I have to, take.
he makes the list and you.
And I like to put it, depending on which store I'm going to, in order.
Did you do a hard reset recently?
I can try that again. I haven't done it since I got the new.
I don't know, anybody else have that problem with reminders?
It looks like
Because I drag them and they move fine.
Yeah,
you know.
it used to happen like that, but lately it's just been bug.
I do a hard reset.
Yeah, that might fix it.
Now, Don, what was your question about reminders?
Okay, well, put in a time on one of those.
Okay, so let's go
Let's
to
say daily, put in a
remind me
time.
on Wednesday at 1 o'clock,
There
right?
you go. Done.
Okay?
All right. Now, how do you change that?
How do I change
the
that?
time? Let's say you want to make it 2 o'clock.
So I hit the I again,
Yeah,
right? I hit the little I,
yeah.
and I go in here and I touch the little clock. Right, I just put my finger on the time
No.
field, and it opens this calendar. So it's really not for today, it's for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I move it to Thursday, and then I say done.
I don't get the I.
You don't get the I?
No. I get only the moving bars.
Oh, you can't do edit, sorry. It's not edit, it's just touch the item itself. So touch onion, and then I get the bar. I can edit onion and I get the little I. And the I lets me decide,
I see that.
remind me on the location, remind me on a day, what the priority is, and then I can add notes. And my problem with this is it's too damn complicated. Why do I need all these extra fields and all this extra stuff? I just want to have the item, the date, and when I have to do it. So I use my calendar. Question, go ahead.
Thank you.
A rather stupid question, but if you are,
There are no stupid questions here.
I'm not so sure, you might change your mind.
Some stupid answers, but not stupid.
When you have all your apps on your screen, but you've got some of them into folders, and you can search for an app, but it never tells you where it is, so you don't learn. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it does. So the way I search is I scroll down from the top.
Right.
You know that, right?
And that will bring you the app, but it won't tell you in which folder.
So now I want to look for CBS News. So I'm going to do CBS News. And I thought it showed me. I thought it showed me.
It should be the first one on the top.
Yeah, it should have been. It is, but it's not showing me where it is, right?
Because I want to know in which folder it is.
Here's application CBS, right? So I can touch CBS. Goes and opens it. But I still don't know where it is.
If CBS is in a folder
Just
or
back out
network
one
television stations or something.
It is in a folder, that's why I picked that one.
Ah, okay.
Just back out of that, and show up.
Because then you never learn.
Well, even when you back out, it doesn't
It
stay on
doesn't-
the page that the
No.
folder is
No.
on, or the app is
No,
on.
it's really frustrating.
There was a place, let me see if we go, if they
Please,
do it
I'd
from the
love
phone.
to know that. It's so frustrating.
There was a place where I could search.
Farted around with this thing. and
Okay.
like,
That's the same search and gives you the same answer.
I wonder, can you search, you can't search folders.
Can I search for a folder? Sure.
I mean, for instance, if you have one that says network news channels,
Yeah, I did
can you
news.
search network news, whatever your folders call them? Maybe? Although, if you don't know the folder,
folder is called News, I think.
Mhm.
But that'll bring up
Aha.
the Apple.
Aha, wait. So News,
That's an app
That's the proprietary Apple app.
though. Right. Which I don't want down.
but in this case, for some reason, it gives me News, and then it shows me that it's in the
That
News
it's
folder.
in news.
And Nightly News is in my TV folder. Now, how did I do that?
How did you do that?
Somebody was watching me. Wait, George, you have it recorded,
Come
right?
on, George.
You have it recorded. Let's just back it up. Let's see if I can figure out what I did.
Did
So,
you just write in search
I
news?
search. I went to the searchy bar thing.
It does, he's right. It really was a stupid question.
What it does? What's the answer?
If you search for the app, for instance, search for NBC or whatever you search for.
Okay. News. Yeah.
No, search for NBC or CBS or whatever is in there.
Okay, so let's search for CBS again.
Okay, now, if you go down one and click on it, there,
Oh.
say it's under
Aha.
TV.
So the answer is, if you get CBS, and then when you get that list, you touch it. Let's try NBC.
Yeah, it tells you what-
And if I had a brain, that'd be dangerous.
NBC. So it shows me NBC, right? I search for NBC, it shows me NBC. If I touch that, then it shows me NBC, it's in
Is
the
it-
weather app.
Or it's also
Or
in
it's in the
TV.
applications and TV.
Oh, I got it, brilliant.
So is everybody clear on how to do that?
So is it worthwhile coming today?
So the $50 that you paid me, you just got it.
You're always in marketing, George.
Okay, thank you very much,
We
George.
need you for our TV ad.
I love you, George.
All right, so we did reminders, how to change position, we know how to do that. A group chat on FaceTime with more than all those people. I can't imagine FaceTime with all those people, but maybe. What's it,
Maybe if
new
it's a
stuff?
presentation and you're having 3 people remotely.
Yeah, I mean, I can just imagine having, it's hard enough now with my son, his wife, the 3 kids, the dog. Then I'm gonna have the other son, his wife, the 2 kids and the dog. I mean, I need a big, who said that? I need a big screen TV, right? Have all those-
And you still want to.
And they still won't talk,
And
right?
that's only on 12 though, right?
That's on 12, yeah. 12.
When are they expecting 12 to be?
September, October.
The fall.
Probably
The
September.
word was in the fall.
Thank you.
Marty,
Yes.
I use FaceTime on my 27-inch monitor, but the image that you get is the same image that is on the phone. It's a little one like
Yeah,
that.
doesn't-
So what you get is you get the big monitor with the little narrow rectangle in the middle.
Or rotate it, then you have.
In other words, this,
Widescreen.
the screen size for the actual FaceTime doesn't expand because you have 40 people that you're talking to.
Right, you still have these little boxes.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody know about syncing messages on in the new configuration?
What was the question?
The question is, on the new stuff, syncing messages in iCloud, what happens?
I can delete a message on one device and it does not delete it on the other device. So I've turned off something. I think you can go in and, or there's an options thing somewhere, probably under settings.
Everything is in settings, right? We all know that.
2 months.
Marty, I noticed that messages appear on my computer, and they didn't used to appear on my computer.
Yeah, but that's part of the syncing thing.
Right, but my question is, if, I usually use my phone to send the messages because I have all these relatives with Androids and stuff, so I need to use my phone and use their phone number as opposed to their email address.
Right.
And so my question is, can you send a message from your computer?
Yes, I do it all the time.
Only
Okay.
if it's an Apple device, I would-
No.
like your phone is,
'Cause
Yeah,
here-
or like the iPad.
No, I mean, if you use their phone number,
Yes.
it'll go from the computer.
SMS, yeah, on your phone,
On your
it'll
phone, but
go
not on
to
your
an
I
Android.
understand that, okay? I use messages for both, right?
Right.
For Apple people and for non-Apple people. So now that the messages are appearing on my computer, as long as I use their phone number, I should be able to send it from my computer even, no.
I don't think it works with Android from the Mac.
Okay, that's my question.
I disagree, I think it does, but what happens is if it's a non-Apple phone, it comes back, it's a different color.
Well, that's true on your phone,
On your
Yeah.
phone.
but I don't know. I mean, if you're syncing the messages to your computer, or they automatically do, because I didn't do it, it did it by itself a few months ago, a month ago, whatever.
Couple of comments. The syncing of messages for iDevices was just released in the very latest iOS 11 release. And
Yeah,
the syncing
That's a
to
nightmare.
the messages
It
on
would
the
be
Mac
rough before.
also occurred 2 days later with the update to High Sierra. So you have to have the most recent. And then there are some settings you have to go. You have to go into the settings area for all of your devices to say that you do want synchronization between the messages. The fact that you've updated it does not mean that you can delete a message on your device and it will delete across all your messages. You have to do some settings, and I don't remember what they were, but you can search that out.
So
I believe it's probably on the discussion group, because I think I've sent out notifications.
Yes, we did cover that.
So you wouldn't be able to use your iPad either unless it was cellular, right?
Well, let me just try again. I can't get back on. Why can't I get back on the screen or do that? Right. So
On the
in
messages, if you can't remember which ones are blue and which ones are green, Jeff Bohr says that the ones to non-Apple people are green because
Yeah.
they're green with envy because they don't have an iPhone.
So this is the phone settings system part, right?
Right.
This guy right here. And messages is this guy. The way you send to non-Apple people is by having send as SMS green,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
This says send as SMS when iMessage is unavailable, carrier messaging rates may apply. So that means you're sending a text message to somebody who's not an Apple user, right? So that's how you can communicate with Android people or other, flip phone people, anybody who doesn't have an iPhone, right? And the little box that you, then you need your MMS on and group messaging on. And then the other thing, where is the communicate among devices?
It's called text messaging forwarding.
Text messaging forwarding, right there, right? And it says, allow these devices to send and receive text messages from this phone. So if I had my iPad Pro turned on, then I could send from my iPad using my phone out. Otherwise, from my iPad, I have to use iMessage, and it only goes to iMessage people. Clear on that? So the people who are iMessage people, if I don't turn this on, and I have it off because I don't want my iPad to be used for messaging, so I turn this off, and the only way it would allow it to use my phone is if I turned it on, and then it would go as a SMS or it would go as a text message.
Marty, where was text messaging forwarded?
In messages settings, down the third thing. And the other question there is, do you want to see contact photos? If they're in your contacts when somebody messages you, then you'll have their little face. Otherwise, you have their initials, right? The other thing for your information is here where it says, I lost it. Send and receive. Mine says 6 addresses, right? You can use different addresses to send and receive, because remember, you're using iCloud for this communication, right, for most of it. So in my case, I have my cellular phone number, and then I have all the different addresses that I use for communication. So it will send iMessages using any of those addresses, and I will receive from any of those addresses. So if Bob only knows me as Marty Dorio at iCloud, or if my kids know me as Marty Dorio at Gmail, then all those addresses are here, and I can use any of those to send a message.
How'd you put all those in?
You just touch it.
It has a check mark, it means it's in. If the check mark's off, it's not in.
Okay? And then the default, if I want to start a new conversation, what do I use? I can use any of these, but my default is my iCloud account. Okay?
Marty?
The other place, go ahead, Jim, sorry.
I'll wait till you finish your thought, because
Oh,
it's
that's
a
it.
slightly different topic.
Go ahead. 'Cause I was
Okay,
going
I
like
just wanted to mention that you can also set up your phone in such a way that you can receive phone calls on other devices, even if they're not cellular.
Right. I was just going to show you that. When you go to settings, general, there's a thing here called handoff. Handoff. And handoff lets you start something on one device. Sorry, maybe that's not it.
No, you have to go to the cellular,
It's in cellular, right? Yeah.
right there, yeah. In cellular, and then,
Calls on other devices.
Calls on other devices.
all none other devices, right?
So in cellular, in settings cellular, down here it says calls on other devices. And then it says allow calls on other devices, yes. Add Wi-Fi calling for other devices, so I can add Wi-Fi calling. So if I'm on my Mac and I want to make a call, I can do it using Wi-Fi as long as my Mac's connected to Wi-Fi. Same thing on my iPad.
Marty, how did you get to cellular? I know it's settings, but.
Cellular is settings.
Cellular, okay, so general and then.
No.
It's
not
higher
general,
than that.
Not general.
It's,
It's right there. Under your little face on settings.
oh, my
Fourth
face.
one down, cellular.
Cellular, I get it.
All right,
And then it
isn't
calls
that-
on other devices.
Didn't we turn that off so that everything wasn't ringing, like the cell
Yes.
phone was ringing?
You may have done that. Some of us like
I didn't
everything
turn it
to
on,
ring.
you
It makes us
made it.
popular. We feel popular when everything rings at once.
I like-
Unless you're married to my wife, who you know, and then it's like, why is everything ringing? Good.
You said you have to have send as SMS if you want to talk to like Android phones.
Right.
But I send text messages to Android phones all the time, and I noticed that my thing, send as SMS,
Is up.
is off.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Um,
we did that for me, but.
Do you have
But
the
down below
MMS?
that
Do
is
you have the MMS one on?
MMS.
Okay.
So how's that different from SMS?
I don't know, I guess it works.
Don't touch it.
Marty, I'm not sure I heard you correctly. I think if you set this calls on other devices up, you can receive calls, but I don't think you can initiate them on that device. I mean, other than your phone.
It says make and receive.
No, I can make a call from my.
I don't even know how to get the keypad for making a phone call from my iPad.
You don't, you go to your address book,
Oh,
I go to my address book and
you hit the phone number.
I find your name and I poke the number.
All righty then. I was thinking in terms of like dialing
touch that. Oh no, I just started calling her. Sorry. Debbie, ignore that.
Okay, cool.
And that's under the cellular.
Questions about that? Further questions? How are we doing on time? 12:20. Let's see what else is here that's relevant. Reminders, group chat, Mac, iPad syncing together. I was going to cover all this other stuff about icons and settings and things. Let's see what. How do I let somebody find me? How do I let somebody find me, other than seeing my pretty face when they walk in the room?
Turn your location.
Turn my locations on. How do I do that? I go to what?
You never asked me that.
Settings.
Well, this is a, Jerry, what do we call it? From many to many? So if I wanted to have somebody find me, how would I do that?
Settings, privacy.
Settings, privacy, location services have to be on, and then it says share my location, right? Share my location. So settings, privacy, location services have to be on, share my location. And then it says from my device, right? I'm going to share my location from this device, and my wife cannot see my location, but I can see hers. So family, Gail Dorio at iCloud, she cannot see my location, but I can see hers. And if I then said share my location, she would be able to see mine. So why is that useful?
It's saving you a private detective.
Yeah, it saves you money for a private detective, or when I get to the point where I sort of wander around without knowing where I am, then she can find me as long as my phone's with me. Right?
It would be good with kids if they don't know how to do it.
Would she see you on a map?
What?
Would it show you on a map?
Yeah, just like Find My Device. Right? Find My Device lets you find your device if you ever lose it. Same way. It's got to be turned on. GPS knows where you are.
I once left my iPad in a rental car, which was already parked in the parking lot. We went there and found it.
Yeah. Now where is that? That's in.
Just on the map.
That's in.
Find me.
Find my phone.
Find my iPhone.
Oh, it's an iCloud. Sorry, I'm losing it here. See, I've stopped teaching now, so I'm losing where things are.
That's why I stopped.
So in iCloud settings, right? Find My Phone is on. Find My Phone is on, and Send Last Location is on. You all have those turned on, I hope? In settings, in iCloud, scroll down to Find My Phone, iPhone, and then turn on Find My iPhone and Send Last Location. Why Send Last Location? Why do we use Send Last Location?
So if you lose it, it'll tell you where it is.
Yeah, because if the battery dies, at least the computer will know where it was the last time it sent the location. So as the battery winds down and starts failing, it sends the last location to Apple. And then you go to your, everybody knows how to do this, right? You go to iCloud on a web browser. You go to iCloud on a web browser, and you put in there iCloud.com. And you get your, I should have to turn this thing off, sir. You go to iCloud.com, you put in there your iCloud, Apple ID, sorry.
Now, mine comes up with set up iCloud, open Find My Phone, and open Find My Friends.
But for those who don't know it, that also finds your other devices, your MacBook.
Yeah, because it'll tell you everything, because what it's telling you is any device, it tells you any device that's registered to that Apple ID. So if you have your Mac, Find My Mac, it'll show you that, and that. Everything will be registered.
To go back to messages and email, because it's kind of dropped down. We talked about how you can use the messages, iPhone messages with Androids. But how do you delete them from one and have them deleted from your other devices?
I think you have to have the,
Would it be in system preferences, iCloud, where you have sync?
yeah, it might be, because it's not in messages, right? Let's look there. You have to tell it. We don't have messages in system preferences.
No, we don't.
Where is it? Say it again. Well, that's messages, right? That's iChat. And I don't see the default app, keep messages forever. Save history, notify me, play sound effects, message, receive sound, save receive to these. See, I don't have a,
I tried looking in settings to see, I would expect if I deleted them from one device and they're all on the same,
yeah.
network, that it would delete.
It does, but you have to go something, I forget where, George is right, we sent around a discussion of messages, so it's only came alive in the last 3 weeks.
Right. But it's set up where? It's set up in messages?
And I don't remember. I'm lucky I know how to shoot.
Well, see, in iCloud, so I'm in iCloud on my phone, right? There's messages here now in iCloud. I think if I turn that on, that syncs my messages with my phone, with my iPad.
But it's basically the release that came out moved messages from being a POP type application to being an IMAP application, so that the server would issue instructions to all the down devices, and I don't remember where you had to go to turn that part on.
I found it off here as well, so it must have just come in.
Yeah. Because on my messages on both my iPad and my iPhone were off.
That's what
And
I
I think
found.
if you turn them on, then it syncs from device to device. It goes through iCloud. So
I just did that. I turned messages on my iPhone,
Okay,
on cloud.
right.
But if I go up to mail, it's telling me I have to set up an iPhone email address. I don't have an iPhone email address.
What do you mean it's telling you to set an email address? I don't have to have an email address.
Open up iCloud.
Because you
I
go
don't know,
to
I have messages on mine.
in my
Mail,
account,
apps using iCloud. If mail is off right now.
Right.
When I turn it on, it says create a free iCloud email address to
Okay.
turn on iCloud mail.
but you don't have to turn it on. That's only if you
But
want.
if I shut it off, it closes it closes the link. It
It
doesn't give me
closes
the option.
But it closes just your mail syncing through iCloud. Right? Everything else works. I mean, for example, here, my Gmail doesn't have an email address. My webmaster doesn't have an email address. Many of them, they do now, but they used to not have email addresses. There's nothing that says you have to have an email address to use iCloud. You just need an Apple ID.
But then it should automatically, on
It'll
whichever
do-
one device, if I deleted an email, it should be deleted from the other two. And
Yeah,
that's
that-
not happening.
That's because your email goes through IMAP. Unless you have an old email. What kind of email? Do you have AOL?
Outlook.com,
You have what?
Outlook,
Well, that's an IMAP mail.
and that's why it won't work?
No, it should work. Should work. My Outlook works.
Because I end up having to
must have
delete it.
something- You must have something else,
Not syncing.
because Outlook is an IMAP. IMAP means that everything that happens on the server. So you shouldn't have any trouble unless you set it up some different.
I don't know. I didn't set it up, Apple did.
I don't know. All right, last question.
Thank you.
I should have iCloud as one of the things on here.
iCloud is the topmost thing with your face or your initials. Topmost thing. All the way to the top.
Oh, that's iCloud.
Yeah. Touch that and then go over to iCloud.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much. I'll see you in September. Thank you, Marty.